Transformers more than meets. Hey, it is. It is Transformers 8.11 update. Is that how they said this one? No, they just said Transformers. Look at the Transformers, dude. I'm excited. I'm excited for the Transformers 8.11 update notes for SMITE. Let's get into it. So Starscream Jingle. I mean, I'll take a new Jingle skin. I do kind of feel well. Yeah, I guess they do need some range characters, right? So okay, Jingle, I guess it makes sense. He is a little smaller too, so that's cool. Megatron Raw, I'm not too big on, but you know, with the ult and everything, I guess it makes sense. Just would have preferred maybe like a warrior for Megatron because he's kind of an ass. So Optimus Prime, yeah, but pretty expected. Also, maybe would have preferred a warrior though. Autobots roll out, duh, but like, I would have just preferred like big tanks for these guys, to be honest. You know, like tankier characters, I mean. But, you know, this'll do. These are fine characters, and the skins look absolutely amazing, so it's fine. They're just skins, right? But still. This Scylla skin, PK Scylla, pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy what they did with this. Glad they gave it to Scylla, because that was Paul just went off with this character. That's very cool to see. This amazing Gilgamesh skin, I mean, ooh, man, I wanted to take a break from Smite, but this might be bringing me back. I really like this look. Looks awesome. And then this recolor from Morgan Le Fay, I think looks great. Another Serena skin. Okay. I mean, he doesn't really get much love, to be honest. But, yeah, I mean, we could take more Serena skins. I don't mind. Plus, it looks good. It's just they're kind of doing the same themes on him over and over again. Just making him a different humanoid animal every time, but I mean, they all look good, so they did the job. I'd like this Baba Yaga skin, just not my favorite theme, but, you know, I think it definitely fits. T-Mat skin, absolutely amazing, and the On Her skin, crushed it. They really crushed it with the skin. Looks great in-game and in the card, and sounds great, too. I won't play the voice, though, because I learned once it will blow everyone's eardrums out, including mine, so let's keep going. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, there's a new ban system in ranked, all ban. That's what they've called it. But yeah, now every player gets their own ban. It's not top elo ban anymore. So you can read all this if you'd like, but if you've played League of Legends, it is exactly like League of Legends' draft pick and ranked. I mean, the second I played that draft pick mode in League of Legends, I was like, this is what every MOBA needs to do. You can't coordinate with the top pick unless you know them already and like your friends. So it just makes sense. Everyone gets one ban, all equal. And then you can still do a little bit of strategizing around picking. So I think that's absolutely fine. The whole, I think they held off on this because they may have been trying to figure something else out that wasn't just the League of Legends system, but that's one of those things where it's just like, this just makes too much sense to not do, so let's just do it, even though it is copying League of Legends. You know, credit where it's due. League introduced this kind of thing first. I know that it's not the first ever person to come up with it, but first big game to introduce this in a MOBA in their ranked system. And yeah, just makes absolute sense. I bet you Dota did it first, and I sound like an idiot. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's good they're addressing so many bugs, but I'm sure there's going to be even more. Corrupted Arena, very cool. Everyone likes some Corrupted Arena every now and again. Slash in 9.1, it's going to be awesome. I might actually just do a video covering that map. That'll be cool. And then a Goldfinch character in the nest near the Gold Fury. Memorial to John Finch. Absolutely awesome. Love it. Should stay there forever like the Allied statue. Oh, yeah, okay. Actually, I didn't read this yet. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that was a lot of words. So yeah, they are going to be playing this at SWC. So, cool. Well, they're saying small patch adjustment, so 8.12 will be a smaller one. Okay, so they're big buff to Death's Toll. Now gives 20 power and 35 magical power. Really, really nice. I think this item's already pretty good, and they didn't increase the price, so it's $6.50. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really solid option for a lot of different characters. I think a lot of characters already benefit more from this than they do Leather Cowl, honestly, especially like Charybdis. Gilded Arrow also gets a buff to 25 basic attack damage. Again, there's some characters who this is really good on. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure this is enough to overtake Leather Cowl though. Like the extra gold you get from Gilded Arrow is still good. It is still good. I know it got nerfed, but it's never not been good. It is actually still feels good to get that extra gold. It's just you feel a little behind in terms of damage still, unfortunately. Benevolence. I'll be real. I still don't 100% know exactly how this item works. But if you are at 50 stacks and gain another stack for any reason, and you are near an ally, that stack will be automatically consumed for gold, and you will remain at 50 stacks. Good. Oh, I know what that means. I'm sorry, guys. I really just don't know how this item works. I've seen it here and there. I know it's not a terrible item, and I'm sure this seems like it makes more makes sense in terms of like usage, but not going to sit here and pretend like I have fully read, understood, and used this item. I mean, I'm just not a support player, so, and I'm not an AZ player either, so. But yeah, I think from what I can infer, this makes sense. But then they decrease the health on it. Okay. Vamp Shroud, increase the power by 5 to 30. This helps match it to other items, but like they should just get rid of that physical protections. I'm getting worried. I want to be able to kill mid laners, please. Well, okay. I shouldn't say that after all the huge assassin buffs, but you know what I mean. Swords of the Old Guard. This item didn't take off the way I wanted it to. I'm sure as you, if any of you guys watch my other patch notes, you were probably watching like SPL, SCC, and everything like that, and people playing ranked and stuff, and not seeing Sam anywhere, and you're just like, Shinmoki, that guy's a dumbass. Dumbass, he said this was going to be the next big thing, and now they're buffing it already. So now has 5% damage mitigation as a stat, applied always. That's really, really nice. Increase the duration of the passive rebuke buff, which provides stacking damage mitigation from 8 seconds to from 5 seconds to 8 seconds. That's really nice. That's still really nice. Apparently, if an item doesn't have sustain on it, though, you're fucked. Like apparently, even if an item's really good, if it doesn't have sustain on it, I thought this one would be different, but it wasn't. I mean, 5% damage mitigation is no joke, though. So, I personally will have to play with it now. Before I say anything, I will personally play with it. And then they're actually buffing Infused Sigil. Decreases stacks required to trigger the explosion from 4 to 3. That's really nice. 4 was a little excessive. And the explosion now does 600 damage. What? Warrior's Axe is seeing a pretty massive shift, and in my opinion, a buff here. So they increase the cost by 50, remove the health, decrease 5 physical protections from it, but it has 15 power for 650 with the health and mana steal passive still intact. So, yeah, I think that's, in my opinion, that's a buff. And I think they're doing this because the Warrior's Axe, the idea of this is a funky song. I'm glad I chose this one. Anyways, the Warrior's Axe idea is clearly really, really strong in the Soul Lane, but the way the item was statted made it very boring because there was no power and just health and protections. So they're kind of shifting that around. I think that's cool. Same with Sundering Axe, sorry. They added 40 physical power to it and removed the health from it, so the protections are still there. So I think that's really cool too. I always liked messing. I'm an asshole, right? So I liked messing around with Warrior's Axe, like Tsukiyomi and Sasano and stuff in casual modes. So I'm definitely trying this. That'll be fun. And then they're actually just increasing the protections on Hero's Axe. Okay. Lotus Crown from 2050 to 2150. I think this should be like 2300 at least. This item's insane. Yeah, quickly overwhelming is right. It kind of gives everyone 30 extra protections. I don't know if it's actually that much. But yeah, it gives your entire team extra protections as you're healing them. So it's kind of like, what the fuck? What's the downside to this item, boys? It also gives power and gives you protections and MP5. It's everything you could want other than CDR. I mean, it can exist. It's just 2050 was out of the question. 2150 I think is still a little too low. Mystical Maul is also getting a nerf, so that's good. I don't think anyone likes dealing with this item. I mean, it is pretty fun to use, but yeah, if you're a squishy going up against a relatively fed tank who has Mystical Mail, it really feels like you can't do anything. So they're upping the cost by 100 and reducing the physical protections by 5. Just a slap on the wrist right now. We'll see how this goes. But you know, as Spectral got nerfed, I think this as a prospect, it might still be picked up, I think. And Book of the Fed gets extra 20 power, gets a little bit of CCR, which is really helpful. Increase the mana shield on the passive from 20% of your max mana to 30%. So, helpful, but I feel like the idea people are going to have is just, why would I buy this when I can stack some extra lifesteal? Or if I'm really getting it, I don't know how to say that. If I'm really getting slapped around a lot, why don't I just spring for a mantle or something that's really going to save me, you know? Because this is still a pretty expensive item, remember? So, not necessarily the item's just really hard to balance. Like, how do you balance something that gives this much power and is supposed to also save you, right? Like, lifesteal can be countered, so that's why it sort of is how it is. So, I don't know. I don't feel like that's going to do much. But Staff of Mirrodin, they have really interesting items that they made really uninteresting. Decrease the cost to a more reasonable amount, and up the power to 95. I mean, that's really decent. I would like to try it on maybe like a Giannis or a Baron. Those are the two characters I really like to use it on. Agni might be good as well. We'll have to wait and see about that. But yeah, I mean, this price to performance isn't bad. That's not bad. And the funniest thing I've seen all day, Fail Not, getting an increased critical strike chance from 10 to 20%, bringing it in line with all the other critical strike items. And they nerfed Spectral, so big thumbs up. Great. And they also buffed Executioner, which is also good in crit builds. Lol. Yeah, I'm not too big on these. I don't know why they're like, there's like, oh wow, this Hunter build is so OP. Let's not nerf it and then buff other Hunter builds. What? I don't really get it. Bastet's rework. Okay, yeah. So they're reworking Bastet again. So they're giving her a real passive. So she gets physical lifesteal and physical ability lifesteal when hitting enemies. And she reveals enemy gods for herself when she hits them. Sort of a play on the movement speed passive she had, where she could like follow the scent of the people she hit, and she would get extra move speed. But instead, they're revealed to her, straight up revealed to her. So that's cool. So it's a pretty substantial amount, 25% against gods and 15% total. You know, once it's all the way leveled up, of course. Once she's all the way leveled up. So yeah, that's cool. Cool little passive. Not the most interesting thing in the world, and not really what she needs. But, I mean, it's there. It's helpful. So, not going to turn it down or anything. So, they decreased the cooldown on her main damage ability, Razor Whip, and made it feel a little bit better. So, it still does the 4 ticks, but it now deals it in only 2 seconds instead of 3 seconds. A lot of the times when I would play Bastet, I would 2 someone and jump back away. And my friends were like, oh, mate, he's not going to die, brother. And then he just died anyways because the ticks were just so unbelievably slow. My friends thought the ability was done. All my friends are British, by the way. So yeah, same damage being dealt per tick and total. So just done quicker. It just makes more sense, you know, instead of dragging it out for 3 whole seconds. And this also actually makes it easier to, or more effective to Aegis, too. So, bit of a nerf to Bastet in that regard, I guess. But I mean, it also makes it feel more fair. And it's really cool new ultimate. Super excited to try it. Bastet becomes CC immune. Yes! And conjures a radiant projectile that travels forward in a line, damaging and stunning the first enemy got hit. A Guardian of Bastet is summoned at that location and picks up and grabs the enemy hit, bringing them to the initial firing location. So it's like if you were who owns Fenrir? I mean, he's a dog, right? Like he has to have an owner. I guess like if Hell threw out a chew toy, and the chew toy did damage, Fenrir would go jump on that person and then ult and then bring them back to you. Well, bring them back to the original location that was thrown at, not to you. So, oh. Anyways, it then creates a pool of quicksand under the god, creating a vortex which drags it towards the center and deals damage, sort of like a pastrami, not pastrami, a Poseidon whirlpool. So yeah, nice. Really pretty low cooldown. I think it should probably be 90 instead of 80. I feel like it's just 80 because the character has been weak for so long, and they want to maybe make her a little bit more relevant, and like this also helps you get more data about the ultimate because you get to use it more often. So, Selena, yeah, it's Selena, not Selena, by the way. I never corrected myself. One of my friends told me it was Selena, and I'm sure that is a pronunciation of the character's name, but yeah, Selena. That's how you pronounce it. Increase the tick rate. It's a very slight amount, but I mean, it does add up quick, so every 0.4 instead of every 0.5 seconds you're getting ticked, so it does add up. So it is a little bit of a nerf to her. And then her ultimate is getting nerfed. Thank God, this this ult is like head-splittingly damaging. It's a little unnecessary given the builds right now. So decrease the initial hit scaling from 90% to 80% makes sense, and the ref damage scaling 35 to 30% per tick. Again, sensible, but also I think it maybe a little bit more tuning needs to be done because this, oh my god, this ability does so much damage. Nausea, really weird change here. So increased initial hit damage on the first enemy hit. So this could be a minion or a god. A decent little boost to the amount of damage dealt to the first enemy hit. So maybe in this sense, this is supposed to reward you for successfully hitting gods with this instead of just bouncing a minion wave and then hitting gods that way. And the other ability, other damage on the ability is unchanged, like the bounces aren't changed. So, and then Thor, really small buff. So a 10% overall scaling increase on his 3, essentially, is what this means. So that's cool. He definitely needs it. I don't know what it is. Maybe that should be my next video. I was gonna do Selena if I could get the character without someone taking her. But I might just do Thor to try to see what feels bad about him. Because when I play him, he feels okay. I don't know. I'll have to do a huge analysis. But speaking of huge, bow! Zeus is getting his move speed back with attack speed too for some reason. So I guess this is to incentivize you. You can also use it aggressively. But basically, yeah. When he uses his 2, while his 2 is on the ground, his Shield of Aegis or something, he gains up to 30%, starting at 20%, but up to 30% movement speed and scaling attack speed as well. So, I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome for Zeus. He really needs something like this. I think this is the most fair way of doing it. Of course, this is very similar to his original 2, just minus the protections. And I think this might be more move speed, or maybe he had more back then. I don't even remember. But okay, Poseidon getting a pretty large amount of changes, but they all sort of revolve around the same idea. So just decrease the tide on his 1, 3, and ult. Makes sense. Characters can have the same amount of damage as Poseidon without that little mini game going on. So make it a little more lenient in that regard. And then Trident, decrease the cooldown, which is extremely good. Because I was trying to get Poseidon Diamond earlier this season. I was stunned at the cooldown of his 2. It's like, this is his only way out. And like it's a 20-second cooldown, so bringing it more around to 16, like say a Merlin 3, that makes sense to me. Then increase the magical. Yeah, this is nice too, because he can really slap. Like if he goes aggressive on you with this, he can already do a lot of damage, and now he's going to be doing even more. We take. Almonds and cob buffs. Oh my god, dude! I almost broke my glasses on this. I wear glasses now, by the way. This ability now slows the impaled target by starting at 20 and then up to 30% slow. Ouch! That is an ouchie right there. And it also decreases the physical protections by 30% on the impaled target. Yowza! That's a big yowza, bro. If AMC ults someone as like a jungler's ganking, they should no, they're not living. They're just not living through that. So that's huge, and of course, this is also huge for team fights as well. Yeah, this is really helpful. I think this makes sense to me because, maybe this should have come with making when he picks up the stinger is a little bit longer than 15-second cooldown, but I think this makes sense because all AMC ult did before is just hurt a lot. So like if you didn't pick up the stinger, it kind of felt bad. Kind of felt really bad because you just do a lot of damage with it, and it doesn't really have much utility. So I think adding a small amount of utility, well, it is pretty big utility with a pretty big slow and a protection shroud on it. That makes sense to me as a way to make it a little bit more impactful than just do weak damage. Shablanke, pretty decent buffs as well. Increase base physical power, as in like was basic attack damages by 3 for each shot, and attack speed per level from 1 to 1.5. This one's really big to me because that more auto attacks, way lots more auto attacks, way lots more good. So, and also more Bola bounces too, just like base, and this is per level, so very helpful. And then they increase the branching damage as well. You don't want to overbuff a character like Shablanke, especially when like trans is meta. So, yeah, I get it. But then, AMC can get that. Okay. No, it's fine. Then Xingqian coming in hot. Getting an extra 0.5% health. Whoa! I think Xingqian works off current health, right? Or is it max health? Actually, you know what? Yeah, I think it's max health. Given the percentage, I think it's max health. Okay, he's getting an extra 0.5% of your max health. Watch out for this guy, guys. But he's also, thank God, getting a cooldown decrease on his 2. But the big one for me is the mana costs are finally coming down on this character. They were ridiculous. I think they may have released the character knowing he was going to be more of a solo laner, so they made his jump 105 mana. I don't really... Yeah. I was always running out of mana with this character, unless I went Watcher's Gift and just stood there not doing anything. So, yeah. Feels good. Feels good, finally. Oh, wow. Wow. I really did that. I really just scrolled right through and showed you all the... Alright, well, here's the rest of the balance changes, boys. Guan Yu already seeing another buff. Alright, 2 seconds cooldown decrease on his 3. I mean, yeah, I fell out of favor, but let him be dead for a little bit, please. Freya will now be untargetable when rising into the air. This makes sense for Freya, not so much for Camazotz. I don't think they, like, do they think these two ults are, do you think these two characters do the same thing? Because they don't. I don't know if they know that. They're two very different characters. Not so sure about the Camazotz one. He really does not need this at all. And I think this is a little extra for Camazotz. Makes sense for Freya. Does not make sense at all for Camazotz, in my opinion. Yeah, so I can't really do a breakdown because there's so many changes. But I think pretty much every change here is good to me. I like moving Warrior's Axe around. I mean, if it's going to be sticking around as long as it has, you might as well make it more interesting to watch. Lotus Crown getting nerfed, always great. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Zeus thing's really cool. I'll have to watch AMC, right? Make sure he's not too crazy. Then there's a Camazotz thing. Yeah, overall, pretty good patch. I'm excited to try new Bastet out. I think a lot of the changes here make sense to me. But then there's also, then there's like the Hunter changes, like making Xe better and Fail not better. And it's like, do they need help right now? I don't know about that. And they nerf Spectral. And also they nerf, yeah, I didn't want to do that voice for too long. But yeah, then they also nerf Spectral in the bonus patch. It's just like, Hunters are really good right now, right? You don't have to touch them. No, you could just buff stuff around them. Yeah, that's about it for this patch. What do you guys think about this patch? Do you think it's epic like I do? Or do you think it's just okay? Or do you think it's terrible? I mean, it's up to you. Let me know, and thanks for watching.